Hi, everybody. Matt here from Matt Likes Comics, and I can tell you from having seen this guy on Biggie Shack on the Friday night, the Collectors Club, that you are going to enjoy this collection that we're going to see parts of tonight. May I present to you my guest for tonight, Mancave Comics, as he's known on Instagram, and we call him Doc. Doc, how are you?
I am wonderful. It's so good to hang out with you, Matt. I've been waiting for your invite with bated breath. And
well, honestly, I would have invited you sooner had I realized that. I didn't really know you very well at first, and Alan was saying you got to talk to Doc. You got to talk to Doc. Trust me. Talk to Doc. Okay, I'll talk to Doc. And sure enough, Steven was like, you got to talk to Doc. And then, of course, Biggie, because you've apparently sent him some AOKs. He's like, oh, Doc is the awesomest guy. You've got to talk to Doc. So here I am.
AOKs. I mean, Biggie, I love Biggie, and we send each other stuff all the time. But, I'm looking to send something to Steppo and Alan, but they're harder to – you got to think hard because they have so many books.
Well, what I find is interesting, having watched Alan now at a few shows and stuff, if he gets something in his head, I want that, he's going to get it.
Yes.
And even if you tell him, wait, someone's planning to get it for you, no, he's going to get it right now.
I mean, he just got the Black Cat 50. You saw that?
I know. That was for those that haven't seen Alan's final part today, he got the Black Cat 50. Go check out his channel today. That's an absolute amazing book.
Top 3 pre-code horror books ever.
Yeah,
probably.
That is probably definitely top 3, up there with the 22 there.
Chamber 19. Chamber 19
and Crime Suspense Stories 22, I would say.
Yep. You're reading my mind. I would have said Crime and Suspense 22 is in there with those 3.
So, Doc, let's get to know you a little bit before we get going really with the books. What was it about comic books? What got you into comic books when you were young and everybody has a story?
Yeah, I mean, I can actually remember the first comic I bought, and it was my mother's. I've told the story a few times for anybody who's heard it, but my mother's best friend would often drive us, my brother and I, to school and she had 3 kids similar age to us, so she would take us, or my mom would take us. They switched off who would take us. And at some point we stopped at a drugstore called Rexall Drugs. I remember where it was. It was next to a bowling alley I used to go to as a kid. And she said, go buy a comic. And I was vaguely aware that there was a thing like this. So I went out and looked for the comic, and it was Tour number 1 from 1975.
Tour, T-O-R. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Tour from Joe Kubert's Tour. The original Tour was from the 1960s, early or late 50s even. And then he did a reboot. There were several reboots, but what gravitated to me, because as a kid, I was a huge fan of dinosaurs. So it had a dinosaur on it, and that was an immediate thing to gravitate to. And after I discovered that, then my buddy had a Defenders comic.
Right.
And I was just like, what is this? And oh my God, there's superheroes.
What year are we talking about? Just to get an idea of the
76, 75.
Cool.
So I was pretty young.
Yeah. That would be around when I discovered comics as well.
Yes. So. And shortly after that, I managed to get my hands on an X-Men 100, the one where the old team is facing off with the new team.
Yes, that's a good one.
That started the more superheroes, the better. I liked lots of superheroes. And I promptly lost that book, and it was like I would search everywhere looking like, where did I lose that book? It was a great. I didn't attain that book till 50 years later, I think 30 years later. But then I had some Defenders. Then I discovered Justice League of America, Legion of Superheroes, like we were talking about, and solo stories too. I would get at some point. Any book I could get my hands on, and even I would stoop so low as to even get an Archie comic once in a while, but if it was available. But
well, I mean, I think back, and I think one of the reasons I probably like the Legion, as you say, is there's lots of heroes, but also the colorful different uniforms. Like not everybody looked the same. Like I remember seeing the Suicide Squad back then, and the did they call them? Yes, they did call themselves the Suicide Squad. Yes, the 5 guys.
Yeah,
they all wore the same outfit.
Right.
And to me, that was a little dull compared to
Yeah.
like,
Same
oh,
with
you got one guy
Challenges of
in
the
green,
Unknown.
one guy in
Challenges of the
blue.
Unknown.
Yeah,
Like, I was
Challenges
like,
of the
oh,
Unknown. That's the other one I was thinking of.
yeah,
Challengers. That's
yeah. They
not
would all
Sister.
wear. They all had the purple outfit, and you're like, yeah.
Yeah.
And at some point, we went to Puerto Rico, and for some reason, I found a bunch of comics there and a treasuries, and I love so I got a supervillains versus superheroes treasury, the orange cover,
Those are great.
and I got I forget what it was. It was a Thor versus Mangog, like in a treasury, and I immediately loved Thor and Mangog at that point. And there was one where Ben Grimm was pulling the by chains the Manhattan Island, and I got a Thing versus Submariner or Thing versus Hulk. I can't even remember at this point. And I
just can't picture, chains being big enough for the thing
Yeah.
to pull the island, let alone actually doing it. It's like,
so
you'd think at one point the chains would snap just from the pressure.
Yeah, I mean, if you get too realistic with comics, you can find a lot of problems.
That's why I say all the time, because comics, that's my way of saying.
We'll quibble about the chain not being big enough to pull Manhattan, but we won't quibble about the fact that you're flying through space and shooting heat waves out of your hands. Right?
One of the things I liked best about my grade 12 physics class was on an exam. He actually did a question. This was the bonus question where it said, if Superman was to catch Lois Lane is falling from here. If Superman, at what angle and speed should he be going like that? And I actually answered the question. I laughed so hard because it was done on the Big Bang Theory years later, but I have guys that I know that I did this before. I said, at that speed, Lois would be dead the second that
she'd be obliterated.
Contact, which you did not say to account for. Therefore, she'd be dead. And I got full marks.
That's exactly right. Oh my God. And as a kid, it became, my brother then got into it. I found a friend at school who had a way better, he had tons of books, and I was just like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. And we, at some point, we just get anything. I get weird, like my first war comic that I really loved was Weird War Tales. I think I happened to get one that had dinosaur. I think it was a reprint of a Star Spangled War Stories.
There were reprints, but there also were new stories from the Land Before Time in there as well.
Right, and it was dinosaur. The guy finally thinks he's free, and there's another dinosaur on the island. He gets away.
Because there's actually one of the books I have and read recently was one where the losers. Yes. The losers were on Dinosaur Island, which is where the land that time forgot there, right?
Yes.
And they were fighting this. And this was during World War II. And because like a Japanese plane had come down, they were supposed to go get it in case there was code documents or something. And, Japanese people are shooting going, oh my God, there's dinosaurs. But the Americans knew about this, but the Japanese didn't, right?
Yeah, they're so great. And they combine that. So Army soldiers, because we just play Army men all the time as friends. So if it's Army.
Yeah, we used to have a lot of Star Wars figurines and Army figurines as well. Yeah.
And I mentioned Tor. Tor, unfortunately, didn't even last very long. I think it lasted 6 issues. But there was Tor. Then I discovered Torok. So I had a lot of Gold Key and Whitman Toroks. And I liked having different superheroes. So if I could find something that was not just Justice League or the Avengers or whoever, it was like, wow, here's something different. And I remember at some point I found one of the Archie Comics Crusader redos where they had the shield, and from the 60s, it was called the Crusaders, and they'd have the shield, the Jaguar, the Wizard, the Flyman. And this particular issue actually had Hangman, Steel Sterling. And I was just
that would have been the early 80s attempt, right? Because
this one was from the 1960s. Okay. They had a 60s attempt. Yes, and I didn't, obviously I found, and I often found my different comics by going to my mom would let, I'd have some money that I'd earned or whatever, and I'd go to the state fair, and you'd just go around the state fair looking for someone selling comics, and it was really slim pickings sometimes, but if you found something good, that was a huge score. And it turned out, so when I got into comics, my mom told me she actually loved comics as a kid, and her favorite comics were Little Lulu, anything from Captain Marvel, Miss Mary Marvel, Marvel Jr. She actually liked Black Hawk a lot, interestingly.
Wow, that's an interesting one for
and she was a big fan of Plastic Man. So besides Little Lulu, which was her favorite was Plastic Man. And
Plastic Man had some interesting books, I have to say. The writing for Plastic Man was quite interesting. It was weirder when in the 70s in Adventure Comics, when he was doing some new ones again, they went all dad and bad gags, sight gags, jokes, which is too bad because they had a bit of jokes in the original series, but there was also good detective stories with that. And that's what I sort of miss about.
Yeah, he was always sort of a jokester, but and they made him pretty powerful, I think, later on, even like
well, basically in current continuity, he's immortal. He can't be killed because he can be killed, but like it would be very difficult because apparently as long as he explained it as long as there's a bit of me going around, I can never die. Like,
I bought, it was like a trade paperback of the death, like he was dying or something.
Yeah.
Like he got, I forget how, and I started reading it, but it was too depressing because he was like, I'm really in trouble, folks. And everybody's just like, oh, good one. They were just like, they figured him to be just a comedian. They were just ignoring him the whole time. And
the Justice League laughs at him all the time.
He was like melting away. And I got about halfway through and I was like, dude, this is stressing me out. I got to stop. I don't know how it ended.
In today's comics, even Wonder Woman, like, Plastic Man is seen as a joke. And Wonder Woman, who loves everybody and doesn't really say evil or nasty things, even she makes jokes at Plastic Man.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a minute to say hi to everybody who showed up tonight. We've got Kay Munin, this first as usual. How are you, Andreas? Jeff is here. Hi, Jeff. Yes, for those that don't know, I'm doing my giveaway live on Thursday night, my 800 subs giveaway. Everything's ready to go. We're just going to pump it up and have a good time. And let's see, we've got Stevie D in the chat. Hi, Steve. Thanks for the pictures you sent this week. I'm very pleased with the stuff. People will see it soon. I did a video. You'll see it soon, very soon. Let's see here. John Harrison is here. Hi, John. Good to see you. Lyle's made it. Big Lyle.
Big Lyle.
We've got Mark from Mark's Issues with Archie Comics. Hi, Mark. Good to see you. You had a great video today. Check it out. Comic Mike's here. Hi, Mike. Let's see. Robbie's here. The amazing Robbie Josephs, who is ready to hang out, and I'm glad he's here. Lau's here. Yes, there is a doctor in the house. Nyuk, nyuk. Lau is a local who is an artist who did a Kickstarter not too long ago. Yeah, we've got Nate here getting ready, coming in before he has his big show at 8:00. And so is Adam from Up and Adam Comics, who's also on that show. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
And let's see, who else have we got here? So far, everybody's having a conversation. Oh, we've got Rich from Big Nasty Comics is here. Rich. Hi, Rich. And Chonko's here. Hi, Mike.
Chonko.
And let's see, we've got Thomas O'Donnell here. Thomas was the awesome guy who gave me this. The nice superhero clubhouse.
Oh, hat. Yeah. Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah. Steven's got one too. I love it. I love it very much. We've got Splash Page Comics here. Hi, Splash Page. Let's see. Susie's here. Hi, Susie Q.
Susie.
And I think that's everybody at the moment.
Susie's my inspiration. Maybe I can get my wife into comics a little more, and then I can.
I got to say, Susan is one of the most wonderful people you ever meet. I got to admit,
Steppo's done well there.
She's always sending me nice little compliments, like saying you did good today, or all that sort of stuff. Yeah. I think she's awesome. Steppo's a very, very, very lucky man there.
Definitely.
All right, well, let's make you big, and let's take a look at some of the stuff you brought tonight.
Well, I have to say, I said I have a lot of books to Matt, and I said, what do you want me to show? And he said, show me the DC Gold. So we're going to go with the gold, man. And
I love that stuff.
I cannot complain. And I was trying to tell him I don't just get big books and sit there like, Uncle Scrooge and swimming in them, though it's tempting. But,
I have to say, Family Guy got it right. I don't know how he dives into the coins and stuff because that Family Guy tried that. He's like, it hurts.
Yes.
This is metal.
So I'm cheating a little bit, Matt. I have things that became DC properties as well.
Right. No, that's fine by me.
And except for Fawcett, I have too many Fawcett books. At some point, we'll do a whole Fawcett episode if you want.
Oh, Fawcett would be great.
I have probably about 60 Fawcett books. But these, I decided, I was talking with you. I mentioned what my mom inspired me. So one of the first things I looked to get were things that reminded me of my mother, who really inspired. She would buy me comics purely. She was a teacher and she wanted everybody to learn how to read. And she was actually a principal of a school, and she would bribe people with comics. Like, if you read or do this, I'll get you, I'll give you comics. So she would give comics to kids in school as bribes, and she used that with her own children as well. So here I am today because of that bribery. But
I will admit, my father liked reading comics too. So he used to buy the digests, like the DC digests and the Archie digests you'd see at the grocery store. But I was the one that was buying the ones at the corner store.
Nice. So. My dad actually didn't read comics as a kid. That's the funny thing. He had no interest. But
very nice.
This is Police Comics 1, which is first Plastic Man, Human Bomb, and Phantom Lady, and Scarlet. What's his name? He's the Firebrand.
Firebrand is awesome.
Who all have appeared in Freedom Fighters and
All-Star Squadron at one point.
All-Star Squadron, and have interesting. It's fun to read those books, which I have. I have those raw, and really, those are another. If I found any of those, Matt, I was in heaven because it was different superheroes. I just liked as many superheroes and different ones as I could find. So
exactly,
this I got this a while back, and I was just flabbergasted as getting the first appearance of Plastic Man was. Big. It's restored, but it's still a beautiful book.
I personally, and I've said this on many channels, I don't mind restored comics myself.
Yeah.
I would buy restored.
I do to a point. If it's too extensively restored and too much done, it always. And I've had those books, and I've typically let go of them at some point. I feel like I like moderate or less. If they do a little too much, because sometimes a restored book can have almost a totally new cover recreation, which if someone wants that and the innards are still good, but I quibble a little bit that, but I don't mind trimmed. I don't mind a lot of things that other people seem to dislike. I've become a little bit of a page quality snob since we're on that topic. I used to have brittle and slightly brittle books. Now I only own one slightly brittle book, no brittle books at this point.
Very cool. And
the slightly brittle book I have is there's only 2 in existence known that are graded. So I didn't have a choice. So this, on that same theme, I'll just show you another great Jack Cole cover, Plastic Man number 1.
Of Death. Which issue number is that?
This is number 1. So this is when he got his own title in 1943. And has a cool little...
a vital book on the back.
Yeah. And it's people, it's a skull cover, and just Plastic Man was a great character. That's what we were talking about. He had a very slapstick sort of way, but he would solve crimes, and he was a criminal to start, and then he had a fortunate accident and managed to. Yeah,
and there's no way in this day and age he could get away with that because there'd be too much evidence.
Yeah. This next one I got, and if you know anything, this is another Plastic Man 9/2, and it's a Mile High comic. It's the first Mile High I got, and I'm
curious to why it's not in a pedigree.
Because I got this about 7 years ago, and they didn't have that pedigree label back then.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
I'd have to resubmit it. I could get one of those if I wanted to spend the money to resubmit it, but personally, this one is a keeper to me. I have a few Mile Highs at this point, and just a quick. Anybody doesn't know, Edgar Church was an obsessive collector. He was an artist for a commercial company. He got every Golden Age title pretty much, something around 15,000 books. And he just piled them up, read them once and piled them up. They were not, and it was in Colorado, good climate. The colors are great.
When it came to climate there, just
the
perfect
Steppo has an amazing number of Mile High. He has like the whole Black Terror Mile High
Yeah, I
run.
think he mentioned that before, I believe.
Yeah. So I don't have as many as he does, but I have a few, and that's a fun one. Changing gears just a little bit, as I was mentioning, one of my mother's other favorite people was Blackhawk, and so I got a pretty high grade of Military
nice.
Comics
Military
#1.
Comics #1.
Yeah,
That is a book. That's amazing. That's one of the first real war books.
Yeah, and it is the first appearance of Blackhawk. And Blackhawk, it's had his own title. He had, he was in the 70s, and I think have they done anything with Blackhawk recently, Matt?
The last thing that I remember with Blackhawk was before. I don't think they've done anything with him recently. No.
Yeah.
The last thing I remember is the Action Comics Weekly, which was the 80s. So
yeah, so haven't done a lot recently, but it holds somewhere near and dear to my heart here. Now we're in DC, so DC is king when it comes to Golden Age. I don't care what anybody says. Yes, Timely is probably more for the cool kids, but all the most famous and crazy stuff, really, DC is the.
You're preaching to the choir here when it comes to DC.
Yeah. So I'll start with one of my a later DC comic, 1951, and I just love this. I love this guy when he was in superheroes. Supervillains team up. The one with Gorilla Grodd. It was his own series. I forget. It was Supervillains team up. I have like the whole series.
Secret Society of Supervillains.
Thank you very much. Secret Society of Supervillains, and that's where I first was introduced to this character. And he was also a member of Legion 89, 90, the modern Legion books. And so you know who I'm talking about, probably.
Oh, I'm 95% sure, but show the book. Yep.
Strange Adventures #9. It is the first appearance of Captain Comet. And this is
good old Captain Comet. Yeah. And the funny thing was that Captain Comet was acting like he was going in to say, I'm going to tell the police what's going on in the secret society. I know I bought like 5 of the issues recently, so I read them. And Captain Comet was going. They brought Captain Comet back during New 52. They were trying to turn him into like a future man that was going to, he was going to destroy parts of the earth so that humans would, stop and flourish again. It was kind of weird.
Yeah. So now, do you recommend New 52? That sort of passed me by, and I've tempted.
I recommend certain storylines from the New 52. If you want to catch stuff about the New 52, I've actually done 5 or 6 videos recently about various parts of the New 52. So
I think I'll check that out, because I've been trying to go back and get some more modern titles. And
as I said recently, I don't like the way the Superman books ended.
Right.
But the end result meant that the original Superman came back. It wasn't the New 52 Superman anymore. So I was good with that.
Gotcha. And no particular order, but I'll save the bigger books for last. I'll try to do that at least. This is from the Steppo pedigree. We won't call it a pedigree. We'll call it the Steppo collection.
Yes.
You know the difference between pedigree and collection, by the way, when they talk about that?
Well, the pedigree is supposed to be like it's supposed to be the cream of the cream. And
nope.
But also to have some sort of historical significance as well, like the Yokohama or
the true definition is it has to be somewhat important, but it also has to be bought by the original person.
Yes, that's the other thing I was trying to remember.
You can't be a collector and just have gone back. So the Promise pedigree had some criticisms because they felt they went back and bought things that he might not have bought for real just because the quality was so different. But people will quibble. It was still a great collection.
Yeah, but anyway, I know. Your collection and my collection would not be pedigrees by that.
Right. And so a collection is just, if we get a big collection, I could call this the Doc collection maybe or something, even though someone already called their collection the Doc collection. So, but this, we'll call it the Steppo collection.
Oh, God, I love that book.
Yeah, Star Spangled One. Action Comics 40 or 41, I forget which one is considered the first appearance of Star Spangled Kid. I had that book raw.
I think it's 41 because,
it could be. I actually had that book raw for a while, and it was like a 1-page advertisement type of story. I'm like, really? This is the first appearance? This is
I
really
would call it first
Moriarty does.
cameo, not
Yeah,
not
it was if Hulk 180 is not the first Wolverine, then
Exactly.
Action 41 is not the first Star Spangled.
exactly. Mhm.
Has a great pin up here, and
Yeah,
I just
Steven showed that book a few times before he got rid of it. So
yep. So he had to get rid of some stuff to get his Captain America one. So Yaniv came to me and I said, I've been trying to get this on and off for a while, and it's a great. Steppo has a great taste. It's super bright and colorful. This is just a well presented copy, and it's a robot cover. If anybody's in their Golden Age books, there's a whole section of people who try to get every robot cover, which is a tough one to fill. But
I always find it amusing that robot technology was this big thing before TVs became a big thing.
Yeah, that is interesting, isn't it? And so Steppo, one of your comics at least is in good hands. We were talking about the Promise collection, so I figure I'll show this one. Sensation Comics number 20.
Oh, a nice looking cover. Etta Candy and Holiday Girls.
Yep, this is from the Promise collection, and as you were mentioning, this has the
pedigree on it. Yeah,
pedigree on it, and I'm not trying to collect all the Wonder Woman comics and Sensation comics, but at some point I was just trying to get anything war related, and there's actually not many Sensation comics that are war related. 13 is a Hitler cover. Yeah. This one, she's in a Jeep with all these officer ladies. I just love this cover so much. And I bought a raw copy on eBay years ago, and I actually had it graded, and it ended up being a 5.0 on a random buy on a raw book on eBay. And someone I knew really wanted it, and so I traded a comic for him, but I really wanted it back, and so I overpaid for this during the Promise hype, but not terribly so, because it wasn't one of the bigger books.
I would like to have a Sensation Comics collection because I'm a big fan of Wildcat, but
and was he in most of the Sensation comics? I know
he was in Sensation for at least 50 issues. I don't remember the last one, but I don't think he was still in by issue 60. I'd have to check.
Right, and he's not in many cover appearances. I mean, he was in All-Star Comics at times, and you'll see a few where he's in.
Yeah, he was in the. He did two Justice Society appearances back then.
Yeah, I used to have. I don't have the book anymore. I think it's All-Star 22 or 24. It's a Hitler cover. You can barely see him. He's like they're watching a film.
Yeah.
And in the crowd you can see Wildcat. He's actually on the cover, and he's not on the cover.
I think that's the cover. I think that's the cover where they got most of the heroes.
Yeah.
Which is funny because they had Green Arrow, but they didn't have Aquaman.
Yeah. Now, since you mentioned Wildcat, I figure that'll choose this cover here.
Oh, we talked about Treasury editions earlier.
Yes, this is a great Treasury edition.
One of the treasuries I had as a kid was the one that was the Sensation Comics one. And that is what made me love Golden Age DC so much.
Yes.
When I went through that and realized that there was a different Green Lantern and a different Flash than what I knew, and I asked my dad about it, and he told me about this, and Wildcat won in there. Well, that's why I like Wildcat, because that was the first story I ever read of him.
There you go. And it's interesting you say that because do you know Mint Hunter Comics?
Yes, James.
Yeah, James James has a store near where I work, so I go visit him probably once a month, and he has a treasury of this. And I keep thinking I might buy that. I love it.
Well,
I love treasuries, but they're a little annoying because they're hard to.
Yeah, well, I saw one 3 weeks ago, and I didn't buy it because he wanted $70 for it.
That's true. They sometimes.
I wasn't paying more than 40, and he wouldn't take 40. So
now this is a low grade, but it's actually good page quality, creamed off white, and it's really well presenting. It's really the spine.
And this is beautiful.
This is from the DC Universe collection. You familiar with that one? We'll talk about collections.
Is that the woman, the woman that put together all the run?
No. So Alan mentioned that. I corrected him in the chat, but he never addressed it because Alan. There's also the Farrell, the Farrell collection. What's her name? The Kristen Farrell collection.
Okay.
Kristen Farrell had most DC comics through a certain era, and she just sold them recently, and they were high grade, great books. High grade.
Right.
she had one collection. The DC Universe is a totally different collection. This guy had a lot of low grade, but he had everything from Tech number
Right.
1 to every DC title up to 2008.
Wow, that's a big collection.
That's a huge collection, and he gave it to PBA auctions, and so the big ones came out in auction, and they were pretty good deals for what they were, because it's not a Heritage and Comic Link are very big auction sites.
What I like about this cover in particular is I feel that this is the best Wonder Woman cover for the first 10
love
years.
it. I couldn't agree with you more. H.G. Peter really
there were
knocked it out of the park.
There were not many covers I would say were good ones for Wonder Woman.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more, and I love that the Capitol and the White House is there, and they're shooting her. She's using her wristbands. Just a great cover.
Well, if you read the story, she does bullets and bracelets in it at least twice. So as she calls it. So,
and it's nice because Golden Age is very famous for having a cover that has nothing to do with the insides.
Yeah. But she's in Washington in that book, because Steve Trevor goes, she takes him back to Washington. So,
gotcha.
I've read it too many times.
You've inspired me. I'm going to grab that Treasury, or because I don't have like for Batman and Superman, I actually have some compilations of Golden Age and read most of them, but I've read the original Wonder Woman story and a few others, but not a. Yeah,
I can't find any Wonder Woman ones either. I've got
now that you think about it, but there is that Treasury. So next time when I go there and I get it, I'll show it to you when we're hanging out on Big.
That would be awesome.
Now I'm sad to say, Matt, I used to have almost a full run of Superman, except for number 1. I had 2 through 20 almost. I may be missing 1 or 2 in there. I used to have a lot of Superman, but I had to make big trades to get big books. So I had a ton of Action Comics. I had almost every Action Comic war cover, and there's actually a lot of war covers for Action Comics.
There are, because that one was monthly, unlike Superman, which was
started
quarterly, then went to bi-monthly. So
that's right. I had all the war covers from Action Comics 21 onward, almost, with a few exceptions, and I had to trade them away. So I actually have 0 Action Comics, Golden Age Action Comics, which is still sort of that's something I'm going to have to rectify. But I did keep 2 books that have Superman in it. And so I'll show you the first one. This book I got a long time ago for nothing, and it's a beautiful book. World's Finest number 7. So it's not technically a Superman book per se, but it's Superman's in it. 7.0 white pager, and owned by Leonard up there. He signed his name right at the top.
Leonard, all right.
I'm sorry, Daniel. His last name has an L. And but I just love this cover. It's just one of the better wartime propaganda covers.
It's also a bit of the fact they've got the big things between their legs, right?
A little phallic symbolism there.
Symbolism, yes.
Where's your mind at, Matt? I never thought that.
Are you kidding? The first time I ever saw that cover, I was one of these covers might not be acceptable for everybody. It was in the same. It was the Rifleman one was in that.
The Rifleman. I've never had that book. I don't know. I find it a little annoying. I don't know about that book, but it is pretty funny, and it looks like they do what they're. They totally knew
exactly what they were doing to pick the angle like that. They knew exactly what they were doing.
Yeah, they do it. Then this is actually my only Superman Golden Age book at this point, but it's a good one. I think you've seen it before, but
it's my favorite Superman cover probably of all time.
So when I was trying to make a big trade for big books, the individual really wanted this, and I drew the line at this. I was like, I got to keep one, and this is going to be the one I'm keeping.
And I love the fact that you have to really look to see the outline of the tank in the black, but it's great.
Yeah, there's that tank right there, and the howitzer or different kind of, maybe also a tank, maybe.
Hi, Mike.
And so there's my Superman collection. And which direction now? Should we go?
Go whichever that flows.
I have. Let me. Here, I got to show some. I have some pre-superhero stuff. So let me just show this. I love this stuff. I have
that. It's really awesome.
Yeah, so this is one of my favorite artists, Craig Flessel. You're familiar with Craig Flessel?
Yes.
He and this is actually the last book he did for Detective Comics, Detective Comics 18.
What a beautiful cover.
And
He's
to
just so
me, this
evil.
is the best, Fu Manchu cover, for sure.
Yeah.
He's in this chemistry lab.
Certainly
I
better
mean,
than number one.
Yeah, Tech One is a cool book, and God, it would be great. There are actually 4 of them coming out on auction, and they're
Wow.
all going
Already.
crazy. Yeah, there's a real Tech One boom suddenly. 2 on Heritage, 1 on Landry, and 1 on Comic Connect coming out.
You have
Crazy
to wonder who passed away.
But it is a
Oh,
low grade because of that rip out of the back, but it's really
yeah.
just an
But I see the Slam Bradley there.
Yep,
That's
Slam
pretty
Bradley
cool.
right there. That's
You
why
can
it's
tell.
the one that,
Just look at it. It's so Schuster right there.
I mean, 1.5. So the 1.5, because the cover presents way better than you expect a 1.5, and it's off-white to white pages. So it really is a high. This is the second one I've owned of this, and I had a 2.0 brittle one a long time ago, and that one presented super well, as super nicely as well. But this one is spectacular. I got this from our boy Yaniv.
Yeah.
Actually, I should say my son did. My son nabbed it from him.
So does your son buy his own books, or is he just sort of complimenting yours?
He just watches out for me. I do most of the funding for it at this point. He's in college, but he's gotten me really good deals because he scours for good deals, and he tells me don't go above this for bidding. Like I sometimes lose my head and overpay.
But he is interested in comic books.
Oh,
so
he knows more about Golden Age. When I buy something older than 1952, he's like, "Why are you buying this modern crap?" I mean, more recent than 1952,
Okay.
I should say. You know what I mean? And he's an expert on Lou Fine. Like I've gotten all these Lou Fine books because he's such a massive fan. So he loves
you got
Fox
lots of
Featured and
man,
Centaur. And he loves old tech, so we've been doing a lot of underbidding for a lot of
I have been trying to. I've only been able to find, like, you can find so many comics from that era to read online.
Right.
Problem is, I've only seen 3 pre-Batman detectives that I've been able to read. Luckily for me, one of them was 20, which is the first Crimson Avenger. I mean, that's the one I really wanted to read.
Yeah, that is a good one. Yeah, so it's. And I don't even hear of the stories coming out that much, but to get them, even they're so rare to get even graded. I mean, they're comics that are hard to come by, to say the least. Here's more. This one is, let me start with, we'll go in number order. So this one is another Craig Flessel cover. And, this is related to your Adventure 247, just a little older, though. Adventure Comics 32.
The first issue of Adventure Comics.
That's right. Really before impressive. This, it was Action Adventure, I think, or
no,
Adventure.
It was New Comics, then New Adventure, and
New
then
Adventure. That's right. That's what I'm thinking of. And this is a great, these guys have a big enough problem on a raft with sharks surrounding them in the middle of the ocean, and they choose to. I guess they got tired of each other.
Yeah, I know.
They're going at it.
You know what? We should show that to Rose in Titanic and say, "See, there's room for 2 people on the door."
Yeah, that's right. There you go. She didn't give him a chance. Yeah.
Oh, so, man, that is so cool.
Yeah, these covers are amazing, and. This one I actually have the pulp that this was based on, but I forgot to pull it out, so I couldn't find it. But this is a white pager, and it's from the DC Universe collection, and it's Adventure 34. Sort of the angry.
What a great cover.
Yeah.
I've only seen that in small, tiny pictures, like, in books. Like I think that picture was in one of the overstreets. How they have pictures on the top.
Yeah, so they have pictures. That's right.
I don't think I've seen it that big before. Nice.
It is.
That elephant is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it's like has blood coming out of its mouth. Yeah. That elephant's, and I wish I had the pulp because the pulp's pretty awesome too. And it's definitely that's a swipe from the pulp. As I said, no particular order.
ITM.
We were talking about, you know, how much I like team books, and Golden Age is not actually full of too many team books.
No.
And most of the time when you see the team on the cover, like a group of superheroes on the cover, they're not actually inside the book as a team anywhere. They're usually their individual stories, but the cover, they just show them as a group.
Yeah. Well, the Justice Society and the Justice League, what they always did was they got together at the beginning, then they broke up into teams, and usually the regular artist for that character would do that feature, part of the feature, and then they'd get together at the end to fix it all up.
That's right. And this is the first time the All-Star Squadron did something, or the Justice Society, I should say, did something as a group. So All-Star Comics #3 is the first. It's where they formed a team, and this is where they actually did something.
But all they did was have dinner. So
it's tough, man. You got to decide where to go, who's going to pay the bill. It's like fighting crime almost.
If you've never read All-Star Squadron, you should, if you are into Golden Age, especially Justice Society, because at least Roy Thomas attempts to fill in the missing parts to stories and whatever.
Nice. As we were discussing, I've read a good amount. I've read a lot of Batman. I've read Superman. I've read Flash and a number of other DC stuff, but I've never read All-Star. So since you've given it a rec, it's a 67 issue series with 3 annuals. The 3 annuals plus I would say the first 60 books, because the last 7 were done after they were canceled and they're basically just origin books. Right.
So the first 60 make a great story, and they continue in content. Like everything. If you read one, it continues. You get the continuity.
And they continued at 58 back when they brought it back in the Bronze Age too, right? I mean,
yes, that's right, and that is pretty good. Paul Levitz wrote those stories, and he wrote a lot of the Legion ones in the 80s. So
right, and Wally Wood's Interior. I actually just I've had that before, and I just got a raw copy, and I thought, I had that is actually a book I had as a kid, and it was a treasure to me to have it, and I'm going to have to. I got a raw copy of it. I'm going to read that up, and it's good stuff. Yeah, and there's a lot of history there. It saddens me that that it's that's gone by the wayside, but we'll keep the memories alive.
Another beaut.
Yeah, this one is the first Hawkwoman as Hawkwoman.
Yeah,
Shira Saunders. Though she's first in Flash 1, this is first as Hawkwoman.
This is the first time she's in costume.
Yeah. And by the way, I used to have All-Star 3 Raw, so I did actually read that one Raw in the original.
Nice.
And let me tell you, that was a white page comic. That I almost regret having it graded and getting it, just to keep that raw. It had the most amazing pages you'd ever imagine, Matt. And I was like, this is going to be white page or I don't know anything. And it was restored, but it had the best page quality. Yep. And to read that comic in its original was a true blessing, man. That was amazing. And I got that from Yaniv. When I first met Yaniv, I got that from him raw long time, like 5 years ago now.
I have to say, I've got a question for the crowd. Doc, what does a fella have to do to get in your will? No, one thing I find hilarious about the Justice Society is the fact that these guys were still sexist as hell. Oh, because the creators, but Wonder Woman is their secretary.
Was their secretary, yes.
Hawkgirl never got to join the team.
Okay.
And only Black Canary got in as a full member, as a woman.
That was way later, right?
That was way later. That was after the war. So
yeah. They, the fact that Wonder Woman was the secretary, I forget. All-Star 8 just told her story, but it was All-Star 9 where she joined, or 10, I think.
Yeah, and she became their that's the part that just makes me laugh. But to give you an idea how cool, like the All-Star Squadron I was talking about, All-Star Squadron Annual 1 begins when you open the page from the cover. The splash page is the 3 of them, Flash, Green Lantern, and Wonder Woman from that comic Cavalcade cover, the one they were at the circus.
Got you.
And that's where the story picks up from. And they're actually at that circus.
I've only owned
That's
one.
the stuff I like I talk about what Roy Thomas adds the details to. It's really cool.
That is pretty crazy. I'm going to have to check that out because there's those kind of little snippets. I did own one comic Cavalcade, the Thanksgiving cover, the turkey one. I had that a while back.
That's a hard one. That's a rare
but
one.
I traded that one off, so it's I have the memories at this point. Since we were talking about Shearer Saunders, though, I figure we'll show this one here.
Works for me. Oh, Flash 1. Nice.
Yeah,
that's a beaut.
Yeah, this is a great copy. Off-white pages, 2.0. The stories are great. Flash, Hawkman, all of it. And this one, so you talked about you had the Sensation Treasury. I had the Treasury for this one as a kid, and
that's one I would love to get. Yeah, the guy had that one too for the same price. Again, it wasn't.
And I don't have it anymore, and I haven't read it in years. But boy, did I love it! And
that is one of the few issues I'd have to say. The major characters that got introduced in one shot here, like.
Yeah,
Flash, Hawkman. What was it? Johnny Thunder is in there.
Johnny Thunder, the Whip.
The Whip, yes,
Cliff
the Whip,
Cornwall.
and the Whip stuck around for quite a while.
Yeah,
I don't think Cliff Cornwall did, but
and some of the earlier covers are fun because they're not all Flash. They're
they do Hawkman covers too. It's cool, especially wasn't it Joe Kubert or Murphy Anderson or sorry. Yeah, Joe Kubert involved when there were Hawkman covers back then?
I think later, not in this particular one, but later. Joe Kubert started off in Catman, actually, Catman Comics with Quinlan, and then he did some of the DC titles interiors. He didn't get the marquee.
I was trying to think who did all that. Was it Sheldon Moldoff then who did
Sheldon
the covers?
Moldoff did. Yeah, Sheldon Moldoff cover and art for this one.
All right. Okay. That's the one I'm thinking of then.
And I won't say anything with Chonko's. I know Chonko loves Sheldon.
No, Chonko loves Sheldon like I like Gil Kane.
Yeah, there you go. Good analogy. But this also has Gardner Fox, John Wentworth stories, Harry Lampert, and Dennis Nelville art.
Yeah, well, Gardner Fox was co-creator of Hawkman.
Yeah.
And he also was the co-creator, he was the co-creator of the Justice Society. In fact, I think Fox was the one that first originally threw the idea at Sheldon Mayer to say, can we do this?
And to get that, I had an an All-American 16. It was extensive restoration. So it sort of, as I told you, I like moderate or less when it gets to extensive, especially full extensive, but it was a very nice copy and I had it for a while. But so to me, to get a blue label Flash 1, and Flash 1 is a little more, I love Green Lantern, but as I said, I own the Treasury of Flash as a kid. So that particular issue was more near and dear. So I sold that and a few other things to get it. And it's,
I would say that was it's almost time I have to wrap it up.
Oh, okay.
So, how many more you got?
I mean, how quick do you want me to run through it, or we can
know what?
More
let's go 3 more. Let's go 3 more.
3 more. Why don't I do 4? Would be a better number because we could save Batman. We can save Batman and other stuff for another day. Let's do Perfect. 4, and I'll go from distal to more recent. So awesome. This is, you were talking about Aquaman and Green Arrow.
I know that book. I see that book in my wildest dreams. I'm a big Aquaman fan, so right. I would love to have that.
And Aquaman.
Think about the 4 features: Spectre, Dr. Fate, Aquaman, and Green Arrow.
Yeah,
you can't. Seriously, that's amazing. It's an amazing lineup.
And Aquaman never, as opposed to Green Arrow and Speedy, who showed up on Leader Comics 1, and then Hey Bubs, and he showed up in the More Fun Later. Aquaman never made it on the cover of a Golden Age
until
book.
1960.
Was Brave and the Bold 28.
I know it's weird.
Yeah.
Yet he managed to survive as a feature that whole time. Like it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. And this is another DC universe that was resold on Heritage, and it really was a good deal. I mean, it actually sold for less than it sold on the PBA auction, which is something
Impressive.
And it's a crazy book. For the sake of time, let's keep moving. This one I got from a friend of mine named Pete Monster. He's on Instagram, and he was this is his undercopy. This guy has an amazing collection. Pete Monster, check him out on Instagram. He has high grade. He's not much of a DC collector, but his timely collection, Fox featured. I mean, he just has whatever grade you have, he's going to have a higher grade, and it's just he's an amazing collector. But he had a claim sale, and he was selling his undercopy of this. So I jumped on that real fast to get the first Dr. Fate.
Nice.
And you got to love these Bernard Bailey Spectre covers.
Bernard Bailey Spectre is something that I would love. Bernard Bailey did Starman as well. It was just absolutely gorgeous art.
So a lot of Golden Age collectors are a little snobbish. They like the more goth, like they always respect pre-Robin Detective Comics and things like that. They poo-poo on DC a little because it became a little too campy for them. They like the real fight comics, the war, the timely, but they all love Bernard Bailey, man. Not a one of them ever says
Bernard Bailey is just
the Spectre run is well loved by all the Golden Age collectors, 100%, as it should be. It's they're so great. They're just great covers.
Bernard Bailey, like the fact that Jerry Siegel, I've actually read that Joe Shuster was a little cheesed with Jerry for getting another artist to do the Spectre.
Really?
But Jerry told Joe that he thought that Joe's style was too cartoony for a character like the Spectre.
I think he's right. So I think it was a good decision.
Yeah. But I mean, the fact is, like Jerry was despite what everybody did, Jerry Siegel was not a nice person.
Oh, really?
No, he was apparently he was very sharp with people and very, Joe Shuster apparently was pretty laid back.
Now, which one was the one who got caught in Atlantic City and they went to the judge, and he actually was like, I created Superman. They're all like, yeah, right,
Jerry,
whatever. And he actually drew Superman. They're like, maybe he did. Well, was that Shuster or Siegel?
Well, Shuster was the drawer, but I think it was Siegel that because Shuster, maybe not. It could have been Shuster because Shuster also was single his entire life, so he would more likely to be able to go to Atlantic City.
And that was
Jerry Siegel. Jerry Siegel had 2 marriages. He literally left his first wife and his son from that marriage. He basically cut him off.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. Like literally, this the son has said he would knock on Siegel's door, and Siegel would tell him to get lost or he'd call the cops.
Wow, that's sad.
Because Siegel ended up marrying the woman who was the model for Lois Lane.
Oh, really?
Okay. He ended up marrying that, like the model that Joe Shuster hired to draw as Lois. He ended up marrying her and having a daughter. That's the one he stayed devoted to. He completely he didn't pay his child support. He didn't do. He was a deadbeat dad for his son.
I did not know that. That's I'll try not to you're Superman, so you probably know all
the reason I know this stuff.
And he's Canadian too, right?
No, Schuster's Canadian.
Oh, Schuster's Canadian, right?
But the thing is like I did research. I was doing a book. I wanted to do a book on comic history, and there was a lot of the legal side. And so I did a lot of the research into when like Siegel and Schuster sued DC, the Fawcett case, and all that other stuff.
Oh yeah.
And the book I read talking about Jerry Siegel and just said Siegel was not a patient or nice man. He said the lawyers had to tell him to shut up so many times because he'd try to talk over them during all this stuff.
Well,
apparently,
really, creative and brilliant people aren't always good people. That's definitely.
I know, and the thing is, I would say a lot of that is frustration because he thought he would make millions off Superman and didn't.
Yeah.
But at the same time, people, you got to be nice. I mean, it's just me. Like, at least in certain situations.
Yeah, the amount of the creators really didn't get their due. I mean, Joe Simon was probably ahead of his time because he actually made a deal with the creator of Timely. I'm blanking on his name.
Martin Goodman.
Yeah, Martin Goodman saying that he would get 10% of the proceeds for Captain America. Now, it was a shake hand deal, and Martin Goodman was not good on it, which is
I know
why
he hid the profits in his other companies.
That's right. So Joe Shuster and Kirby started slumming elsewhere, and then they got fired.
Yeah,
went to DC. And
they went to DC.
That Boy Commandos, which became
but
the
of
most
course,
popular.
You know who ratted them out, right?
I don't know who did.
Stan Lee. Stan Lee at 18 was Kirby and Simon's gopher.
Gotcha.
That was his first job.
I knew that. I did know that. That doesn't surprise me now that you mentioned it.
Yeah.
And yet Kirby and him came together and fell apart and came together.
Yeah,
you know,
that's a lot of. Lee always said they had a love-hate relationship.
Yep. But I know you're pressed for time, so let me show you this.
Oh, beautiful.
This is one of the more fun I have that's not a first appearance of any sort, but it is always on the top 10 list of the best
covers.
DC
That's
covers.
Amazing. That is just I love the fact he's a giant. You got this little plane coming across the comics. It's awesome.
Such a great cover. And this is signed by Dick Winters. So we've always speculated, is it the Dick Winters that went off to war and was it a band of brothers? It'd be cool to try to figure that out, but we call it the Dick Winters cover. Cool. Yeah.
Well, you'd be surprised if he lived in New York. That's a possibility because New York was where the majority comics were at that time.
And this was 1940, so it was before went off to war. But this is a nice copy, white page, more fun 54. I mean, can't believe got that, honestly. Okay, this is the last one, and you probably have an idea of what it is. It's from the DC universe.
Yeah, but I knew that was coming. What a beauty.
52, yep.
Number 52. And
a little bit of shadowing on the edges there, so but where it counts, it presents really nice. And
what a beaut.
Yeah, so first Spectre, Spectre is one of those characters. I enjoyed the Mandrake run, when in the 90s, the Spectre runs. I thought those were fun reads. And the adventure comics. Do you have any of the Spectre adventure comics, Matt?
I have the 10 from the 70s. Yes.
Yep. Those are all fun.
I have half the series of the 60s.
Gotcha.
They're harder to find. So
yeah. Yep. So just one of those cool characters in the Swamp Thing, the Dark Legion, all that stuff. He still rears his head.
And the Spectre was one of the few characters that stayed Earth 2. That they didn't make an Earth 1 version of. They only made Spectre was only into Earth. Like every time the Spectre came to Earth 1, it was the Earth 2 Spectre.
Gotcha.
And until after Crisis, when there was only one Earth, that was different.
I reread Crisis about a year ago. I hadn't read it since the 80s, and I was just amazed at how many heroes they pulled in from Esoterica. They went out of their way to get, when you have Anthro in there and
amazing. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight, especially want to thank Doc for coming and bringing these awesome books. Go check out. You got two options tonight after the show, guys. You can go to Nate's like we do every Tuesday, which is why I wrap up by 8, by the way.
Yeah, no worries.
And or you can go catch Chonko over on Gary B, the Casual Guy. I am putting in the chat right now the video of mine that if you want to qualify to win my prizes on Thursday that you got to go to make a comment on. Make sure you're subscribed. Thursday night, 8 p.m., come back to my channel. We're going to have a giveaway. It will be a little bit of a party. I may eat cake. I don't know about the rest of you, but
as long as you don't jump out of a cake in the buff, we'll be happy.
Oh, hell no. I don't jump for anything. I don't even jump for joy anymore. Thank you very much for everybody for coming. Next week I have artist Mike Ruth coming on my channel. So come check that out next Tuesday. And as I said, join us on Thursday. And thank you very much for coming. My name's Matt. I like comics, and I hope you do too. Bye, everybody.
Later.